life's a ride, we got no control. Twists and turns gonna take its toll.
We are back. It is the Subject That Changes podcast, episode 20, Eric. My co-host and good friend Eric Michaelian, can you believe we are in episode 20?
Episode 20 to kick off the summer, buddy. Oh, I'm so excited.
It's summertime. The living is easy. That's a good song, kind of. Sort of. I could listen to it. You like that song?
I don't know it, but yes, I love it because I love summer. I love anything having to do with summer.
Yeah, me too. You know, what is your favorite thing about summer? If someone put a gun to your head and someone blow your fucking head off, you don't tell me the favorite thing about summer, what would you say?
It's like, excuse me, sir, that's really violent. I would have told you without the gun, but I'll say going to a beach specifically with big waves. I love going in the ocean. I love getting thrown around. I love getting pummeled by waves. It's like my favorite thing in the whole world. Then get on the sand, read a good book. Don't think about anything outside of just reading the book and going in the waves, man. That's my favorite. What's your ideal summer day?
Well, mine is a little bit different. I am a huge fan of the ocean, but not of crowds. And so what I typically do is I will rent an Airbnb that's right on the ocean in kind of like a secluded area. I will sit on the balcony. I will have my breakfast. And then at night, I'll go down. I'll either jump in or walk around in the water. And then I'll just drink wine and watch the ocean and just enjoy Mother Nature and my time away from the 9 to 5. So yeah, I love the summer and love swimming. And I will take it over an ice storm any day of the week.
Yes, summer, this like 95-degree heat is like my favorite weather. So while everyone's out there complaining about how hot it is, I'm just like, I'm in hog's heaven.
People complain about everything. Too hot, too cold, too big, too small, too bouncy. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about the ins and outs of your marriage, man.
Well, I wasn't necessarily referring to that, but
hey. Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't understanding where you were going with that. I was just dreading the fact that you were going to bring up Bill Cosby again.
No, I am changing my ways. I've turned over a new leaf.
Oh.
I am now going out of my way not to offend or say anything remotely offensive, and you will see how good I do in this podcast.
Well, it's because we're doing PG movies today, man. We're celebrating a great Can-Am artist, John Candy, with two of his best summer hits. We are doing Summer Rental and The Great Outdoors. Two just quintessential summer vacation movies, and you can't get much better than John Candy, can you, Geno?
There's nothing tastier than this candy. John Candy is a Canadian treasure, I should say. Wonderful actor and a kind soul. I've seen many of his interviews where he can't hide how much of a good guy he is, and it comes out in the characters. And so anytime he's in a film, even if it's a small role, it's going to be enjoyable. He's just a kind soul. I've seen a bunch of interviews with him where his niceness just flows out. Even when he did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, he would go hang out with the townspeople. This is a guy, even when he's in a shitty movie like Who's Harry Crumb, it's still watchable because it's just fun watching him act. I don't think these are two of his absolute best films, but I do really enjoy them, and anything with John Candy is something that I will dig. So
Summer Rental actually is his like first real solo vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I was right. I just didn't research it, but okay. And it kind of shows. So Summer Rental, why don't you tell the audience and me the synopsis? What are we looking at? What's it about?
We meet John Candy, who plays Jack Chester. He's sort of an overwrought air traffic controller, and he's basically on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He's sort of annoyed with his family. He goes to work. He's getting cut off in traffic, and he's just like freaking out. As he's at the air traffic control, he starts losing planes. He starts kind of cracking up. His boss notices this and says, "Jack, you are forced to take an entire month off." So John Candy takes his family and goes to Florida. You're a guy who works a lot. Has anyone ever come up to you and said, "Geno, it's time to take that mandatory vacation"?
Yes.
They have?
Yeah, it actually happened recently.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah,
I was setting you up for something completely different, but yeah, okay, yeah.
No, I was working a lot. I was very stressed out. I started just saying, I don't give two fucks. Whatever happens, happens. You're setting me up for the fall. Then it's all gonna fail. I'll let it fail. And then they just said, you know, you have all this time built up. You should just take a week away. Don't worry. Just relax, and you don't have to tell me twice. Much like Jack Chester in this, I want to see everything go correctly, and sometimes to my own detriment and to the detriment of my mental state. So yeah, it has happened to me before.
Heard,
Yeah.
buddy. Heard. He takes his entire family to Citrus Cove, Florida.
Mhm.
They pull into this really nice on the beach cabin where all the neighbors are kind of snooty pricks. His wife and daughter run around in skimpy bikinis, and he starts getting a little paranoid about that. Lays out and gets a pretty nasty sunburn. That night they go to a lobster restaurant where they're waiting in line for a long time, but they're so intent on getting these lobsters. And right before they're about to get their table, in walks Richard Crenna, who plays Al Pele. Pele?
Play.
And he takes the last of the lobsters. How good is Richard Crenna in this movie? It steals the show.
Well, it's hard to believe he's Troutman. This guy is such a good actor. I'm like, where do I know him from? And then it hit me. I'm like, that's Troutman from Rambo. Holy shit, what a versatile actor. Because in Rambo, he's such a badass. And in this, he's kind of like a worm. So yeah, he was fantastic in this. And he did steal a lot of the show. I'll agree with you there.
And it's established that Al is the king of the sailing regatta of this town. And he's sort of like a local celebrity. Everybody knows him. Everybody kind of like jacks him off because he's rich, I guess. Jack confronts Pele, and there's actually some really funny lines when Jack, as he's leaving, is just like, "There's rats in this. There's terrible rats everywhere. They found rats. Everybody, you shouldn't go to this restaurant." It's like- and then Richard Crenna has a great line. He goes, "I apologize. That man is obviously a slob."
Yes, he did. That was great. That was awesome. And I can kind of see where Al Pillay is coming from because he's a local. This is his fucking place, and he's sick and tired of these tourists coming down and flooding the place and acting like they own the place. So I kind of understand where he's coming from in the frustration. You know, where trying to mind his own business. You know, he gives a lot of money to that restaurant, and they got him his lobsters, and he's got this big fat guy running over saying, "They're my lobsters." That would piss me off, and I don't even like lobster, but that would piss me off. So I kind of get being a local and having your place flooded with people. We see it like with the Westover Air Show here, right? We got a bunch of fucking assholes from everywhere coming down and flooding the place and blocking the Mass Pike. So at that point, I would be Al Pillay. I'd be like, fucking get out of here. How about you? Don't you hate that shit with the Westover Air Show?
I don't know what that is, but no, it's never happened to me. I'm sorry, man.
I can give you the date and address, and then jump on the Pike and see how you like it.
But
It's
see,
like,
then I would be one of those guys that's invading your town. Like you don't want me there. Trust me. Trust me.
well, I would make an
Um,
exception for that.
I appreciate you, buddy.
Well, likewise.
So they go to the Barnacle where they meet Scully, Rip Torn, is he a pirate in this movie? Unclear.
I think
He's just-
he is, and he's also a treasure. Rip Torn is a wonderful, wonderful actor, and a actor I admire. He is fantastic.
Yeah, Rip Torn, star of Men in Black, Freddy Got Fingered, and Dodgeball.
And also Trial and Error with Jeff Daniels and Michael Richards.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh, it's glorious. It's what a good film. Rip Torn, hilarious in that. Of course, the award-winning Freddy Got Fingered, wonderful in that. The guy's amazing. And Dodgeball was hilarious.
And he got arrested for robbing a bank, I believe. But that's neither here nor there.
At least you didn't say
so-
he tried to rip them off. That would have been lame.
I don't know what that reaction was. I apologize.
It sounded like you were jerking off an elephant.
Hey! I thought you were turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, it's just a slow turn.
So Jack, they go to the restaurant with the Barnacle. They meet Rip Torn, and that night, their first night in this cabin, somebody starts to break in, and Jack's about to attack him with a sculpture, and it turns out that they've had the wrong address, and then the family who actually lives there is coming to move in, and they have a wonderful disagreement, and the family just kind of sits and waits on the couch and watches John Candy and his whole family leave. He spills
Yes.
kibble over the floor. He forgets his daughter upstairs. All right. That was that was funny. Although for some reason, why were the keys in the mailbox if it
I,
wasn't a rented place?
I think I think the idea just is that people used to put them in those fake rocks, and people would put them in like their visor on the inside their car. I think it was just a common thing. And if you look at it, they're living in a very like well-to-do area where probably break-ins aren't that much of a thing. So they just throw it in there as like an extra in case they forget them, and it just coincidentally was the same place that Jack Chester was told to look. At least that's how I saw it.
Okay. So they move to a new house, which is utter trash. There's construction going on all around them. There's the access to the public beach is right by their window, so people are just walking in and like looking in on them. It's around here where I start to realize like this is not a good role for John Candy, because the character of Jack is kind of like, he's really overwrought, he's really anxious, he's kind of an asshole,
Yep.
which John Candy, I mean, he's a good actor, but like John Candy's at his best obviously when he plays like with a lot of heart. And
I agree.
it's tough to buy him in this role of like, oh, just take over my whole life and like get out of my house, and like it doesn't work for me. So then they go to the beach. Jack kind of traipses around the beach looking for his wife and spills water all over everyone. And
Yep.
I wrote this down. Jack and his son play frisbee. The son throws the frisbee underneath a couple making out. Jack goes to get it and he puts his hand under the woman's butt and tries to grab the frisbee, and he says, "Hey, your wife's on my whammo." I was like, and I wrote that. I was like, Geno loves your wife's on my whammo. I'll bet you fucking anything.
I did, but you know what line I liked better than that
Which
was
one?
when everyone went into his house when he was away, and the guy was laying in his bed with the dog, and he's watching the Smurfs, and Jack goes, "You ever see the episode where Papa Smurf takes his crutch and beats the fuck out of a guy with a red hat?" I thought that was so fucking funny. Great stuff. I also like when the dog locked him out in the rain and took his chair and food. There were certain things I found very funny in this, and I agree with you that this was not the ideal role for John Candy. And there's a lot of little things in here we'll discuss that I'm like, that seems to be like a storyline that may have had more to it that they cut down, like the John Larroquette interactions. Like,
Oh God, yeah.
okay, so you have John Candy. He twists his knee. He's kind of like stuck at home, and you got to have his wife and his daughter. I think Sandy was the wife and Jennifer was the daughter. They're kind of like wearing bikinis and going on the beach and having a day of it. And they go to the movies and they forgot their money. And so John Larroquette, playing Don, is there with his sons, and he offers to buy tickets. And you start to see like a budding romance with
Mhm.
Don and Jack's wife, and it goes nowhere. Like there is no, hey, I can't do this stuff. I was kind of surprised because the Don character became basically meaningless when there seemed to be more meat on the bone. What do you think?
I mean, he was only in like 2 scenes. He was in the movie scene where they introduced him
Yep.
as a character, and then he's like at this regatta race at the end that the whole family is participating in, and you're like, yeah, do you guys know who you have? Like, this is John Larroquette.
Yes.
He was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He was in Night Court. You know,
Yeah, he was in Twilight Zone, the movie, as the racist guy. He
he's also in
ruled.
the best episode of House MD, Son of a Coma Guy. Great episode, season 3.
I love House.
Yeah, me too. Oh, it's like my favorite show. So at one point, John Candy's like buried in the sand, and then he just gets this idea. He goes, "I'm a great sailor. I'm gonna go sailing."
Yes.
Like, where the fuck did that come from? They never established that he even likes boats or has anything to do with boats, and
Yeah.
it comes out of nowhere. Although, as you were saying, like they introduced John Larroquette at the movie theater, and there's like just several posters like in the background, and one of them is Friday the 13th Part 5, my man.
Yeah, you can't beat that. I wish I could go back in time and go see that film big screen. Have you seen any Friday the 13th on the big screen?
I saw the very first one, and then I saw Oh no, I saw Freddy versus Jason, and I
Yeah.
saw Friday the 13th, the remake. Oh shit, no, and I saw Jason X. So
Oh,
everything after Jason X and the first movie I saw on the big screen.
I saw 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Freddy vs. Jason, and I didn't see the remake, but I saw the heyday, 6 and 7.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Well,
glorious stuff.
obviously I don't like part 8 very much, but I could see myself loving it on the big screen.
Oh, it was
You know,
awesome on the big screen.
all the
Loved it.
shots of New York and shit like that, like the 5 seconds of New York shots that they got.
It was worth it. I loved it. But okay, so we got
Anyway, yeah, back to
yeah.
Summer Rental. So
So
Jack forms a bond with Scully, the restaurant owner.
yes.
Oh, and he meets this girl named Vicky who takes him to her house and says, "What do you think about my new boobs?" And she just like goes around showing men her breasts
Yeah.
over and over and over again. What did you think about this weird storyline? Although, to be fair, her husband is there and he's just like, "Would you just tell her you love him?" Well,
Yeah.
she spent so much money on it. I thought the husband Ed was actually really funny.
Ed was awesome, and I thought that there was more to this as well because Jack is a workaholic. Like it seems like he doesn't have time for his family. He's always at work. So you have Sandy kind of gravitating towards Dawn, and now Jack, who probably doesn't get a lot of action, gets this beautiful chick Vicky showing up, and she says, "Why don't you come over to my place and have a drink or whatever?" Now the fact that he went says there's trouble in paradise with Jack and Sandy, but they never explore that either. They just maybe there's a longer cut of this, and maybe they're saying we need to make it strictly comedic and not have all this drama stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if in the original screenplay or in the original cut that there was more turmoil between Sandy and Jack and more of a potential stray on both of their parts. It just felt that way as I watched this.
There's subtle cues that Jack is insecure. He doesn't want to take his shirt off. He says he's insecure about his body and stuff. And like insecure men tend to go wandering whenever the opportunity arises. Then they introduce this whole thing about a landlord who dies, and Pele takes over the house that Jack is staying in,
Yes.
and Jack is trying to give Pele the check for the final 2 weeks of rent, but he rips it up in front of him and says he wants the family out. And then the family just like they get really emotional about this house they've been staying at for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily so. They're just like, I can't stand not to be here. And you're like, guy, you could probably rent somewhere else. Like, probably.
And he still gave them 5 days to leave. So
Yeah.
they still could have gone and say, okay, we'll stay here 4 days, go get a hotel, and we'll be fine. But yeah, that didn't make a lot of sense. I did like when Al was at the funeral and he's yelling at the dead guy, and then closes a coffin to use the coffin to lean on to sign the paperwork. Um, you can tell that Richard Crenna loved this role. Like he embraced it, and I think he just said, "I'm gonna go balls to the walls with it and have a good time," and it worked. And same thing with Rip Torn. Rip Torn as Scully was a great character, and as zany as it was, you can picture a guy like that existing. Just a guy who is kind of like living on his own and owns a little restaurant and is just very eccentric. So I think like this film has enough strange characters and charismatic characters to keep it going. And unfortunately, like John Candy kind of gets lost in the mix here, which is very rare.
I actually honestly think this is the best I've ever seen Rip Torn in. He has like one really good line when John Candy's like, God, can you imagine peaking at 18? And Rip Torn just looks at him and goes, yes.
Oh God, you got to see him in Trial and Error though. Like Trial and Error, I think is probably his best. Although Freddy Got Fingered cracks me the fuck up with him as the dad. But if you put a gun to my head, I would say Trial and Error. He's so funny in it. This film is good, but Trial and Error is the way to go.
So then Jack goes to Pele and says, I'll bet you $1,000 I can beat you in this regatta. Because he's been taking sailing lessons with Scully. And he accepts and he says, if I win, then I get to stay free at the house for the next 2 weeks. If you win, here's $1,000 and I'll leave. And then they choke on popcorn for some reason.
Both of them do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know. I have no idea what that was about because he was eating popcorn before John Candy showed up and he was fine.
It might be they may bring awareness because popcorn is one of the biggest killers in the food business. Most people, when they choke, not most, but one of the big killers is popcorn. So maybe it was bringing awareness.
Is that true?
It is true. It is.
Okay.
Popcorn's one of the killers. Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna put an asterisk next to that, and maybe next episode we'll clear this whole thing up.
Hey,
So they
you don't
introduced.
think you don't think I know shit?
I'm just saying. Maybe you may be mistaken.
I
I'm
hope
just saying.
no one you ever loves eats popcorn alone.
So they introduce a guy named Angus, played by Richard Hurd, who's actually really fucking funny.
Yes.
He's like comes in with this thick Scottish brogue and just, oh, you got to get the thing, you got to get the sail, you can't get the sail with the GBR.
Yeah, I
He
love
was
it.
also in one of my favorite shows. He was on Pacific Blue. You remember that show?
I know it. I've never watched it.
It's like a cheaper version of Baywatch. It's about bike cops in Santa
Oh God.
Monica.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
God, it's like the best show of all time.
Oh God. Yeah, the back in those days, Channel 8, Baywatch, Pacific Blue. Yeah, I remember it being on. I never watched it, but yeah. Okay. But
It's all USA, baby.
You're right, USA Network.
So then the whole family decides they're going to work on this boat to help Jack win the regatta. And this is kind of where you're, like you were saying, this movie seems like it's been hacked to shit. Because it's only 86 minutes long.
Yep.
87 minutes long, and they just jump around from thing to thing, and there's like no real cohesive story until about an hour into the movie. Fucking fine, whatever. It's almost over. But this is kind of like Jack. He didn't mind working so much. When he was an air traffic controller, he was always stressed. He was always burnt out. But like this is like hard work he's doing on this boat, but he loves it because it's something that he wants to do. The movie didn't draw any parallels to it, but I did. It's hard work, but he was doing something he loved. He was building his life towards something that he could be proud of. And I think that's the key to good work and to have a good working relationship is like doing something you're passionate about.
Oh, I agree, and I think when it's something you want to do, my job, for instance, that sucks donkey cock. And then when I'm in my basement and I'm painting my basement, there's a level of peace and ease, and I've accomplished something. So yeah, I totally understand your point and what Jack was doing because him doing the air traffic control, he's spinning his wheels, same shit every day, not getting anywhere, just turning a buck. Here, not only is he accomplishing something with his family? He's doing something he wants to do, but he also has the chance to shove it up Al's ass, and that is an extra bonus. So you put that all together, it's a great point you made there, Eric, and I agree 100%. That's life is about chasing your passion, and they say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely. So then there was just like a random scene where John Candy and his wife both are painting the deck or something, and then she paints herself into a corner, and then Jack pops up and is like, "What happened?" She goes, "I painted myself in a corner." And he goes, "Oh, so did I." And that was
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, that was odd. And did you know like that the Carrie Green who played the older daughter actually recorded all the lines for the younger daughter?
There was one line in particular. It was I wrote it down. Oh, can I play in the basement with Yorku? You're like,
Yes.
That was a grown ass woman dubbing a child's lines.
Yeah, would you go down to the basement with Yorku?
I would. I'm not a child.
Yeah,
I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't let any of my kids downstairs with Yorku. He seemed kind of shady to me. Why would you want to hang out with a young kid?
Maybe that was the only person who would talk to him. I don't know.
Yeah, but
nothing happened. We're not gonna add that kind of shit into this movie because we have to worry about whether Angus is gonna find a sail for the boat, which he immediately does. So tension diffused. It was a plot line that lasted 2 minutes. He finds a sail and everybody's fine.
Yeah, I did like his mustache. He had a good mustache.
Oh, tremendous mustache.
I would love to make a hammock out of his mustache.
Well, you're going for that mustache ride, are you?
Well, I think like it looks strong enough to support, like my weight. I would think. And hey, if you look like that Superman movie, one Superman hair held 8,000 pounds. So I have a shot, and I'm sure that hammocks back in the day were made out of hair, wouldn't you think?
Oh God, I never thought about it, but now that I have, I'm so glad I live in modern times when hammocks are just made out of rope.
Yep, you'd be lying there on a woolly mammoth pubic hammock.
Pubic Scottish man's hammock. Uh, so then we start the regatta,
Yes.
and boy howdy, is there nothing more exciting than watching sailboats on the ocean.
Yeah,
Ooh, high drama.
it's
Oh,
right up there with watching bowling.
or golf.
Yes.
Buckle yourselves in, guys. The wind is blowing. Ooh. So the next 6 or 7 ice ages are devoted to this fucking regatta.
Yep.
And it looks like they're gonna lose, but then they look in the hull and they see that the freezer with all the fish sticks is still in there, so they toss out the freezer, and then they go faster because the wind, he catches a wind or something. And then so I was like, is this like a metaphor for losing weight or something? Like I don't get it. But then Jack puts his pants on the sail to have more wind, to use more wind, and then they win.
Yeah, and at that point I was like, we get it, he's fat. We didn't need that.
I know. Well, I mean, here's my edit of it. If he took off his shirt and his pants and did the whole thing shirtless, because you know how he said he was feeling insecure about his body earlier in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Like if he just kind of like took off all of his clothes and used them as sails and was able to overcome his insecurity, that would have been something interesting, a little character arc, a little plot, you know. But nope, they win. Pele has a temper tantrum and roll credits.
You know, I'm on. I would like to see him take off his shirt, his pants, float by Al, grab his boobs, and say, "Got milk." Wouldn't that be a cool line?
I would hate this movie even more if that happened, Geno. I'm glad you didn't have final edit on this.
It would have been fantastic.
Young
Especially with that
10-year-old Geno has final edit over Summer Rental with John Candy.
I did like the smile he gave Al as he floated by and waved at him. But yeah, I think you're right. Like had he said, you know what, I'm not insecure anymore. I am who I am. Love it, leave it, go jerk off to it. Whatever you want, baby. That's who I am. And I agree with that point you made, 100%.
Well, that's it. We never talked to Jonathan Larroquette ever again, and nothing is really resolved because you have no idea if Richard Crenna is even going to keep his word or not.
Yeah,
they just go to credits. Don't think about it. We have your money. Get out. Geno, what did you think of Summer Rental?
It's I'm a huge John Candy fan. I think this is one of his lesser films. It's watchable. It's one of those things you can kind of throw on for background noise. It's not a classic. I did think it had moments of good stuff, but it just seemed incomplete to me. I thought John Larroquette was a resource that could have really been used throughout the film to make it better, and maybe he was supposed to. Richard Crenna, as you said, fantastic in this. But like I said, John Candy, he kind of gets lost in the mix, and there is that missing. You brought it up as a good point. He's so endearing, and he was basically fighting against the grain in this to be more of a overworked, like angry sort of guy. And so on that, I would say it's worth a watch if you like John Candy. Rip Torn is good. I thought Carrie Green as the daughter was good. It was a decent, but not fantastic. If you miss it, you're not missing much. What do you think?
In terms of nostalgic factors, this movie very much reminded me of my whole family going to Hampton Beach in the summers. Like it had that vibe to it, you know. Yep. The kind of lazy days, the like being on the beach, the crowds, the like all the like going to the seafood restaurants and stuff like that. Yep. But much past nostalgic value, and I'm sure a lot of people watch this just for nostalgia because they probably grew up on it. It is a very good snapshot of a family's summer vacation. But there's nothing here. Like it's not really that funny. There's a couple funny moments. It's not very good. John Candy is like very underwhelming in this. The
Yes.
family are kind of non-characters after a while,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
it just kind of becomes about Jack and Scully. And even that relationship's not good enough to carry this film. Unfortunately, I love John Candy. I love everybody basically in this movie, but it does not equal the sum of its parts. Carl Reiner, the director of this film, would do a lot better a couple years later when he made the movie Summer School. That is a great movie.
Oh yeah, Summer School, you can't go wrong. That's a fantastic movie. And like you said, this was not written for John Candy. It was a role he took. And at this point, like you said, it's his first film. People don't know what they're getting because he came from what was it called, SCTV, where he was, an unknown commodity. Just that he was funny and that he's a big imposing guy, and they didn't understand, I think, his chops, like how good of an actor he truly was. And I'm kind of glad like he got away from that, where I don't think Chris Farley lived long enough to get away from the funny fat guy where John Candy did. John Candy had dramatic roles and roles that could pull at your heartstrings where Chris Farley never had that chance. And maybe he couldn't, but I was glad to see John Candy get away from that funny fat guy block that they make for certain actors. What do you think?
I think Chris Farley kind of lived in that realm of like really loud, angry, histrionic kind of guy, which you never really got to see him out of, even though I kind of like that movie Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah,
But it was still kind of just shouting and screaming and blah, blah, blah. Like he was kind of a gimmick, which like you could see, like Adam Sandler was the same way early in his career,
yes, he was.
back when he was still kind of trying. Yeah, I think that like John Candy he just had a certain charm and a certain charisma about him that made people really relate to him. And in the next movie, that's going to be, in my opinion, on full display, which is a remake of Summer Rental, but on a much better level. He had emotional range that I don't
Absolutely.
think Chris Farley had. And I know a lot of people love him, but I don't think even John Belushi had.
Yeah, I think John Belushi was overrated, and he never had a shot to. Much like Chris Farley, died very early. I was never impressed with Belushi. Certainly not impressed with his brother either. But with Farley, watching like Tommy Boy after his dad dies, he had certain like dramatic scenes, and I thought there was something there, but it was never flushed out. So, but yeah, John Candy, good stuff. This one is a mediocrity. That leads us, I suppose, Eric, to your 2 minute movie review. We're already there. Every episode, Eric gets 2 minutes, 2 minute movie review. He tries to enlighten us, and sometimes he does, and sometimes, we say, hey, hurry that shit up. But we love him to death. We want the best 2 minute movie review, Eric. What the fuck did you watch? What do you got lined up? I can't wait.
I watched Ballerina, the John Wick adjacent movie starring Anna de Armas and Gabriel Byrne, directed by Len Wiseman, who directed Die Hard 4.
Ooh.
The action in this film is really, really fucking good. It's really fucking clever. It's pretty well shot. It is not a patch on a regular John Wick movie, and Anna de Armas is not really an action star. It's tough to explain like what it is about her that didn't work in this movie, but if you look at people like Keanu Reeves, like Charlize Theron or Tom Cruise or someone who knows how to really do action movies, she just doesn't. It's just off. It just doesn't work. The story's kind of blah, but you don't watch these movies for the story. I mean, the whole John Wick thing is about a dead dog and him just killing everybody in his path. So
Yes.
it gets a pass. If you like, it's just a good action movie. Don't go in there for good acting or anything like that. And that was the only movie I got to see in theaters, but I did watch a documentary on Pee Wee Herman called Pee Wee as Himself,
Oh.
directed by Matt Wolf. Super interesting subject. Pee Wee Herman, or Paul Rubens, played this character and kind of definitely decided that he was just going to be Pee Wee Herman and would
Yes.
like sort of live in Pee Wee Herman, and you wouldn't see Paul Rubens at all. And so watching this documentary was very fascinating in having Paul Rubens expose himself, no pun intended, in a fashion that has sort of not been seen before. There's no tricks, there's no gimmicks. It's just him kind of being insecure and trying to take the movie away from the director and then fighting back, and then so if you want to watch a fascinating portrait of someone who you probably don't know that much about, other than Pee Wee Herman and Arrest Records, I would say watch
Yep.
Pee Wee as himself.
I was always compelled by like just the like the strange show. I never liked the show, but I could see why it was popular. And he did have a good sense of humor about himself because when he was caught jerking off, it wasn't at the Lion King. You know, he was in a porn theater. Not that I encourage that or say, hey, there you go, that's the way to do it. But that seemed like not reportable news. But when he came out,
Honestly, though, like if you're gonna do it in public, it might as well be there. Like that's what
yeah.
it's there for. We didn't come here to study cinematography at the porno theater. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it's better than him running out of the theater and then jerking off in the street, I suppose. Then I think like the next week he came back as Pee Wee Herman on the VMAs and said, "Did you hear any good jokes lately?" I thought that was fucking
Classic.
hilarious,
Yeah,
classic.
I remember that too.
Yeah. So yeah, great talent. Like he was good in Dunstan Checks In and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Mystery Men.
Mystery Man I thought stunk, but he was good in it. I'll give it that.
Mhm.
Interesting stuff. I appreciate the 2-minute movie review, Eric. Very good stuff. Maybe I'll check out the Pee Wee Herman. I like documentaries, very much so. I watch a lot of documentaries. I find them compelling.
It's on HBO. Check it out.
I will. We go from Summer Rental 1985 to 3 years later in a role that is more suited for Candy, written by the great John Hughes, who understood Candy and really showed like how great he could be. And Candy's not the only great star. We have Dan Aykroyd, who's amazing in this. Tell us, what is The Great Outdoors about, and what do you think?
Great Outdoors very similarly to Summer Rental. It's about John Candy taking his family up to, I want to say it's Wisconsin from
think you're right.
Chicago. First of all, this song Yakety Yak by the Coasters. Do you know this song?
Unfortunately.
Is it just me, or was this song in every fucking 80s movie there ever was?
Super popular.
That and
had
that
a
one song
resurgence.
that's like out, like
Oh,
that. I don't know
God.
what that song is called, but like
Yeah,
that song and Yakety Yak were in every fucking 80s movie.
better that than Don't Worry, Be Happy.
So he takes his family up to this Great Bear Lodge or something like that. And it's sort of looking up all these people like in the family and just seeing what they've been in. The kid Ben was on The Facts of Life. Do you remember that show?
Yeah, with Natalie.
That show, I didn't realize that show started in 1979 and went on for like 8 fucking seasons.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought that show started in like 1988 or something like that, but no, they were just winding down at that point.
Wow.
Anyway, the family goes to the North Woods Lodge, to the Wright House, first try this time.
Yeah. Yes.
They see a great shotgun lamp in the lobby of the cabin rental place, which is that'll come in later. But they meet Wally, played by Robert Prosky, who I'm sure everybody knows. They were in Mrs. Doubtfire, Last
Yeah.
Action Hero. A great movie called The Skeptic, who's wearing a shirt that just says "I've been to Duluth," which made me laugh.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I don't know why. It's just a great little sight gag.
It was.
So as the family is sort of settling into this cabin, you see Roman, played by Dan Aykroyd, and Kate, played by Annette Bening, with their 2 girls, coming up to surprise Chet and the Ripley family. And as John Candy and his beautiful wife, Stephanie Faraci, I think her name is, they're about to get it on in the kitchen, and that's exactly when Dan Aykroyd walks in with a camcorder and starts videotaping them, which, again, another great funny scene. The chemistry between John Candy and Stephanie Faraci in this is great. The 2 of them together is just fantastic. He's like, "Oh, yes, honey, we're going to play Fashion Parade, and you will be Charlana, the forest temptress, and I'll play Bert, a guy named Bert."
Yeah.
It's amazing shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure of her acting history, if it goes back to like anything like comedic or even anything like SCTV, but they fell in together. Like you can see they probably genuinely liked each other and they were working off each other very well. And she actually played well off everybody, including Annette Bening and including Dan Aykroyd. Like she was, unlike the last wife in Summer Rental, very much a big part of this film.
Yes, she's kind of the glue that holds everybody together in this family and in this film. So Dan Aykroyd comes in and he's sitting with Chet, and Chet tells Roman that he used to come up here with his dad and he loves it up here. And Roman's like, I would tear down every fucking part of this and do a mining company, and I would put medical waste in the lake, and I would cut down the entire forest, which just shows you that like 80s capitalism, exploit everything that's not nailed down kind of thing. And,
Oh yeah.
and Dan Aykroyd's explaining, he goes, guys like you, just the simple people of the world, just go out there and enjoy yourself.
I love that. I loved it.
And he goes, we'll probably all die of heart attacks long before you. And John Candy's like, isn't that be great if just a bunch of people drop that you hate?
Oh my God. And I think like is a relationship that Kate and Connie are sisters.
Kate and Connie are sisters, yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because like watching this and watching how Kate really looked up to Roman. I don't know if you caught this, but during the whole film, anytime he says something, Kate will be like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." She's really supporting him, so it made sense why Roman took this journey and why he needed to maintain his status with his family at any expense. And I never caught that until I watched it this time, that Kate was like his cheerleader and he didn't want to let her down. I found that very interesting.
Well, actually, and this is where the writing between Summer Rental and Go Right Outdoors is different, because John Hughes is brilliant at writing character,
Yes,
and
yes.
you notice subtly that Dan Aykroyd is always trying to impress everybody. He's bragging about shit. He's talking to John Candy. He's like, well, sometimes I make 300% profit, 100% sometimes. He goes, but you take the good with the bad. And it's like he knows the way he's coming off. And he does it with all the townspeople. See, at one point, he's talking to the bartender, and he's like, oh, I do finance. That's what I do. That's just how much. Who's your investor? Blah blah blah. And it's like you watch this sort of pathological thing that he has of like trying to impress everybody, and when he doesn't impress his kids, it really bothers him.
Yeah, it
It
does.
bothers him that Chet's kids look up to Chet, but his kids don't look up to him, and he needs that. And he wants
Yep.
that, and you can see like he's jealous of that, and he tries to undercut Chet at every turn to get that from Chet's kids, because he doesn't think he can get it from his.
Well, yeah, and you had Chet has found something that Roman hasn't. He found happiness and family harmony and the admiration of his kids, and that doesn't click with Roman. Roman has basically made everything money and
Mhm.
success, and he doesn't understand why that has not impressed the two Munchkins. And it basically Chet shows him how shallow his life is, and that's tough for him. And like you said, John Hughes, I don't know if there's a better writer than John Hughes. This guy, almost everything he puts out is fucking amazing. The guy's a killer writer. Like he wrote Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in fucking 2 days. This guy's is he's not human to be that good. It's crazy.
If you watch The Breakfast Club, the scene where they're all sharing why they were in detention, like the levels and layers that one scene hits with all of those characters and the way it balances everybody is
Yep.
just like that's masterclass shit. I was thinking about this watching Dan Aykroyd's performance. Dan Aykroyd never gets kudos as an actor. He's so good. Like I was thinking of this obviously, and I compared it to the snooty rich asshole he played in Trading Places. Two
Yep.
completely different people. The way
Yep.
and how earnest he is in Ghostbusters, and how
Yeah.
cool he is in Blues Brothers, and even how sweet he is in My Girl. Like we never talk about what a good actor Dan Aykroyd is. He just kind of plays like under the radar. He's playing this like Roman's this like big Chicago guy, the army.
Yeah.
But
And he kind of it was kind of reborn. Like have you well you saw Tommy Boy. He was the rival auto supply guy. There was a little bit of Roman in that character, I thought.
I'd never watched Tommy Boy, or if I did, I think I saw it when it came out.
You know what
But
you know what the worst Dan Aykroyd movie was?
ooh, is it I Love Trouble? No, not I Love Trouble. Nothing But Trouble.
Nothing But Trouble. Shame on you. That's a good movie. The worst movie, Caddyshack 2. He does a really
Oh,
annoying voice, and I'm not sure what he was going for, but it's the one point. If that was the only movie Aykroyd ever did, I'd say he sucks. But He is so good. He's so good in this. He's so good in Ghostbusters. He has so many layers, and even Nothing But Trouble, which also had John Candy in it, I think is super underrated. It's very strange, but I think it's such a good movie.
I actually thought he was the best part of Caddyshack too. Oh, could you please suck out the poison? Could
Oh
you?
God,
Oh.
I prefer Chevy Chase with the putting. No, 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 no. I thought that was funny. Uh, and I,
uh,
even though what was it? Jackie Mason
Jackie
got
Jackie Gleason?
no Mason from
Mason.
Caddyshack 2. He was the wrong choice. He did his best. He wasn't too bad. Caddyshack 2, not a bad movie, not a great movie, but Dan Aykroyd, that's his worst. But getting back to something by John Hughes, if it's got the John Hughes stamp on it, you're probably getting a good movie.
So Chet tells the story about this killer bear of the North Woods that he encountered, I think, on his honeymoon, where this massive bear that apparently is a man-eater who tried to break into the house, and he shot it with a shotgun, but it shaved the head off of the bear, and it
Yep.
didn't hurt him at all. And then and everybody gets scared, and he like freaks out. And I'm like, I love John Candy. Oh, come on, okay, maybe I made the fangs a little bit bigger. Jesus.
Yep.
Great. I love that. I love this scene. It's just him telling this story and everybody getting freaked out. Camera work's pretty good in this too. Another great scene is when Chet's telling his son, he's like, it's not real. I'm going to protect you, blah, blah, blah. Roman hears this, and then he goes to try to talk to his 2 twin daughters.
Oh my God, I love that scene. Yes, he goes to his daughters and he's like, what Uncle Chet talked about was all fake. It's kind of like what my uncle told me about those escaped mental patients that went around killing everybody. And like, he's not, and he left them and they're terrified. It was so funny.
He goes so Chicago in this scene. He's like, it's about escaped army psychiatric patients that escaped their metal boxes, killed a whole family, and ate them. But I don't want you thinking about that. I want you thinking about nice things, soft, cuddly things.
Yes. And I love the rivalry between Chet and Roman in this. Even though, like, Chet captures John Candy, everything he does well is on showcase here, where he doesn't like Roman, but he also understands he's family and he wants to be hospitable. You got Roman who's threatened by Chet, and he's still trying to be Mr. Cool Guy, and it really works well. I could watch those two guys act together infinitely.
They have amazing chemistry as well, and to me, this is quintessential John Candy. Like, if he took his persona from this movie and put it in a summer rental, that movie would have been fucking great. He's so open, and he's so, I want to say vulnerable, but he's just like, he doesn't mind being kind of mushy. He doesn't mind being sentimental. Like,
Yep.
It's exactly what you think of when you think of John Candy as a person. Like, you imagine he's just like this. So then the next day, Roman calls a minister in Chicago and asks for $25,000. This is where you start kind of realizing something is up with Roman, and that things may not be as they seem. So then Chet says that he wants to rent a very nice, not sailboat, because I don't want to get into that regatta shit again.
Yeah.
But a pontoon boat to go and cruise the lake. And then Dan Aykroyd says he's going to get his kids a jet boat, and the kids all want to go on the jet boat. And there's a very nice scene where John Candy's talking about he wants to spend time with his sons, and he's talking to his son, and he's just like, come on, this is for us to spend time together. And the teenager wants to just run off and chase girls and shit like that. And a great little bit when he's like, he goes, hey, give me a hug. And the son's like, come on. And he goes, you're never too old for hugs. Come here, be a big guy,
Yes, I love that.
Do you still, like, was there a point where your kids didn't want to hug you?
No, they still, both of them give me a hug every night.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, every time I see them, I get hugs from them. Yeah. They're never too old. When I'm on my deathbed, they're going to give me a hug. Probably, especially if I leave them something in the will.
A nice pat on the hand.
Yeah.
Thanks for the memories, Dad.
No, but there is. I love that. It is true. You're never too old for a hug. I wouldn't want a day where I didn't get hugs from my kids. So I don't care how old they are. It's all good.
That's beautiful, man.
Hey.
So then Chet tries to teach his youngest son about water skiing, but miscommunication, and Roman takes off with Chet on the skis. He goes way too fast, throws Chet all around the lake.
I love that when he goes, bastard, bastard. He said go faster.
He said, "Go faster." There's a few times when he's just like, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dying, I'm dying. And then he sees some ducks and he's like, oh no. It's like real like Punch and Judy shit, but like it actually works in this movie because John Candy is so fucking good. So then Chet decides he wants to leave, and he's so pissed off, and he's just like, I want to get out of here. I want to get away from Roman, and I hate you. And this is one of those scenes where we're talking about where the wife and John Candy just like have such great chemistry because she convinces him to stay, and she's like, the kids look up to you and they love you and everybody wants to be here, and and she really like pulls him back, and that is it's such a great little scene. You watch how their relationship works. So she diffuses his anger. It's so good.
Love it.
The acting is so good. Then we get a brief little scene where Wally brings back the twin girls, Roman's twin girls, because they were fucking around in the mines. And that's going to become important later. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Chet takes the family to go to an old man's birthday party.
More fucking funny stuff. Yeah.
The guy's turning 100 years old, and Chet convinces the kids to take a picture with him. And like, oh, give the old man a kiss, and the guy's just kind of sitting there with sunglasses in a wheelchair, and Robert Prosky's like, they shouldn't be climbing all over him. He goes, well, what do you mean? Like, what old guy wouldn't want some affection from a little kid? He's like a dead one. He died in the car on the way over here. And everybody freaks out and runs away. Oh,
and Robert Prosky, who played Wally, he's versatile too, because like it didn't even occur to me that he was in Miss Doubtfire as the boss, because it's like he plays such a backwoods hillbilly-ish character in this, and then you see him playing like this fucking CEO, and it's completely different characters. What a great actor! Everything to both roles, and I love the character of Wally in this. Great stuff, and a great actor. I take my hat off.
Yeah, and also just like how sweet he was in Last Action Hero too. Just really fucking good actor, good character actor. And then they go to a bear dump where Chet lures two bears onto his car with candy bars.
Oh God, that was hilarious.
And then he has to drive away with the bears on top of the car. He's just
I told you I loved. He tells his son, "I told you I loved you," right?
It's like the bears are on top of his car, and he's just like, "Oh, you're tired? I'm tired. Let's go." And then he talks to the bears, and he goes, "I'm moving now. I'm moving now."
Oh my God, hilarious stuff. And the thing with Chet is like Chet does want to always be like the rock for everybody, and so he will pretend he knows what he's doing, even when he doesn't, as he did in the bear situation, which I fucking loved. The thing I didn't love about this film, Eric, was the Buck and Cammy storyline that was shoved in here, where Chet's son Buck goes into town and he meets Cammy, and he shoves his pool stick where the sun don't shine, and then they have this like
by accident.
You ruined the spoiler for the people who haven't seen it. So now he's kind of chasing her. She's being a bitch, and then finally he begs enough, and she says, "Yes, I'll be your girlfriend," or whatever that was. And I thought it took up valuable real estate in this film. It was garbage. I love John Hughes, but this was a misfire. I didn't care at all about Cammy. I didn't care about Buck, unless it's Uncle Buck. I wanted back to the cabin, back to Roman and Chet. What did you think? Was Buck and Cammy complete dog shit like I thought?
It didn't really add anything to the mix, except for I noticed that Cammy looked a lot like Sharon Marr, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah, no, I see that.
She just same facial structure. Although in looking her up, there was something I wanted to see. There was an after school special called Stood Up, where a woman who her I guess her boyfriend didn't show up for their prom date, so she sues him. I wish I could have seen that.
There
Buck
we
comes
go.
back, is very important to the plot date with Cammy. And
Mm.
Chet goes out in a boat with Buck, and they have a very nice moment where he's just like, "Hey, you know, I love you. I want what's best for you." And he gives him his class ring, I think it is. Just
Yes.
a very
Mhm.
nice, a good moment between John Candy and his son.
I like that
Just
moment.
very good acting. So then we kind of get some montagey shit where Roman is playing golf and Chet is in go-karts, and Roman hits a ball and it bounces off a tree and hits Chet in the face.
Yes.
They go horseback riding. Chet is left behind. And so
that was
the
another
horse stalls.
great scene.
The horse stalls, and Chet becomes really upset, and he pulls off a branch, and he's like, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to hit you, but you're forcing me." And then the horse takes off, and he's forced to walk back.
I fucking love that scene. He's taking everything in him to actually discipline the horse, and the horse basically says "fuck you" and leaves this poor guy who's painfully out of shape to walk all this way. Like when he comes back, he is so sweaty, so beat that he wants nothing but to go home. And that's when fucking asshole Roman's like, "Hey, I got the whole day ready. What are you talking about?" No one even looked for the poor guy. It was really funny stuff, and John Candy played it up so well. That scene had me in stitches. I love that scene.
And then more Cammy and Buck. Oh, I can't get enough
Oh,
of this young budding romance. So good. Chet and
not
Roman
good.
go to a bar where they meet Reg, the poor guy who's been hit by lightning 66 times in the head. That is the one scene that sticks out in my mind every time I think about this movie. That one guy going in the head.
And I love the fact that Chet is like so kind, and Roman's just this boisterous prick where he's like, "Hey, nice skunk hairdo you got there, buddy."
Well,
Fucking
he's got the hair.
yeah, where that's who Roman is. Roman is larger than life. What unfortunately there is dry rot there, where he's just the man he pretends to be is not the man that he is. He's really all about appearance, and I think Chet sees that, and it becomes more obvious throughout that Chet starts to see the holes in who Dan Aykroyd or who Roman is, and it's really compelling stuff. I really didn't know this was a John Hughes film until I looked it up, and I'm like, oh shit, because like I'm a huge John Hughes fan, and I like this movie. This guy is just a writer. He understands, like you said, character development. I don't think anyone walks away from this saying he faded away into the background. These are characters that stand out, with the exception of Buck and Cammy.
I agree. So then we get a little bit more evidence that Roman is, he's asking basically everyone who does their finances. He asked the bartender Herm who does his fight. You know who that was?
No, who was that?
It was Louis Arquette, who was in Tango and Cash, Ready to Rumble, and is the Arquette patriarch. Rosanna, Patricia, and David Arquette's father.
Did I ever tell you my Patricia Arquette story?
Is it appropriate?
It is. It is.
Okay.
She friended me on Facebook. She messaged me
Groovy.
to say she loved my movie, and I said, "Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that." But then she realized the movie that she loved was not my movie and defriended me immediately. True story.
What movie did she think it was?
I wrote The Haunting of La Llorona when The Curse of La Llorona came out. We were going back and forth, and then when she brought up, I said, "Oh shit." I actually wrote the independent film, so it wasn't me, but I hope you give it a shot. And she defriended me immediately, and I said, "You know what? I'm going to break my copy of Stigmata tonight."
The Patricia or Rosanna?
I think it's Patricia. Patricia was the one that was, I think, in Stigmata, and she was the one that defriended me for no reason.
I'm sorry, buddy.
That's all right.
Arquettes can be so mean when they want to be.
Yeah, they can be as nasty as they want to be too. If you like Two Live Crew, you like that? Do you own that?
No.
No, they sing "Me So Horny." No. Well,
No.
probably. Oh my God, that's what the problem is. I'm 10 years older than you, but back in my day, Two Live Crew put out a CD, As Nasty as They Want to Be, with "Me So Horny," and it was huge controversy because they were just singing about banging that shit. People didn't like it. They did not like that. They're like, hey, you got to take them to dinner first, and that wasn't even in the song.
How did we get here again?
Because You said they can be as mean as they want to be or something, and then that made me
Okay,
think of
okay.
as nasty as they want to be. Yeah. Oh, me so horny. Me.
I was like, wait. I was like, yo, give him 2 milliseconds. He's gonna start singing it.
It's a good song.
Geno will be releasing his album in the coming weeks. Just send in requests for what you want him to sing.
Hey, if they're willing to fund it, I'll sing. I'm not against it. Where were we? The
So,
Arquettes for
so the
some
family
reason.
goes back to the cabin and they're attacked by a bat.
Hmm.
And so Chet and Roman gear up to take out the bat, but there's Chet goes in to like deal with the bat and it flies around his head and he goes, "It buzzed me. It's about a 2-pounder. Yeah, this is gonna we're gonna deal with this."
Yes.
So they gear up with tennis rackets and shit and like put waste paper baskets on their head and fucking go and kill the bat. just good silly bollocks. You know what I mean? Like it's
Great
great.
scene.
The bat lands on Chet's face and Dan Aykroyd hits him in the fucking face with a tennis racket.
But it
Good
also
shit.
the scene also built up Roman and Chet breaking the ice. They teamed up on something, and that I think that was a big thing to push this story forward. That even though he hit Chet in the face and it wasn't the greatest thing in the world for their relationship, this was the first time they actually worked together to do something, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Just a little bit of character building for the two of them. Then they go to Paul Bunyan's cupboard where Chet decides that he's going to do the old 96er challenge where he eats a 96-ounce steak. There's something I noticed about this part. You don't see this a lot in movies anymore. Those tiny little roles where it's like one person walks on screen, says one thing, and then leaves, and then they don't say anything ever again.
Yeah.
You don't really get those in movies anymore. Those like really small parts that like maybe got someone their SAG card or whatever. Like
Yes,
like little walk-on roles. You don't really see a lot of those anymore, you know?
I love walk-on roles. We need more walk-on roles. Let's bring those back, Eric.
Yeah, it just like it makes the movie feel more lived in. Like if there's like extras that have lines or, you know, the chef comes out and says one line where he says bon appetit, you know?
That chef was awesome. I
Yeah,
thought that
big
chef was
guy.
hilarious.
So
You know
then,
who he reminded me of? The truck driver in Adventures in Babysitting, even though they're not the same guy. The minute I saw him, I thought of that guy with the hook. Yeah,
oh
the
yeah,
guy.
yeah, not Vince D'Onofrio.
No. The what's his face? I don't think he had a name, but he was a truck
Yeah.
driver in Adventures in Babysitting, and they kind of had the same beard and crazy eyes.
Was that also written by John Hughes?
I don't know.
No, that was Chris Columbus.
That's right.
All
That's right.
Anyway, so Chet eats the giant steak, which I've always wanted to try one of those eating challenges.
Yes.
100 pounds of pizza or something like that, and like get the pizza free. Never encountered one.
Why? Why would you like to try that?
I don't know. It just seeing that giant steak, I was like, oh fucking, I bet I could do that. You know, like, yeah, get the meat sweats.
Yeah, I would be afraid of the aftermath.
Well, we're about to see the aftermath because a running gag in this is raccoons break into their trash and just send trash everywhere. So they put the trash cans inside the cabin, and before they come home from the old 96er challenge, the raccoons break into their house. When they come back, John Candy sees all the trash everywhere, and like he goes, and Roman's like, "Look at the maggots on that one." Chet
Yep.
goes to throw up. Now, you tell me if you noticed anything weird about this scene. Is
I-
there anything that stands out to you? Because to me, it's like glaringly obvious something was going on.
No, outside of the fact of everyone running out of the house when he pukes, which seemed odd. No, what did you see? What am I missing?
Okay, so to me, this is as clear as day. Dan Aykroyd and everybody follow Chet towards the bathroom. They pause right at the stairs, and you can see them do it. They pause, they turn around, they look at Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd counts down, and then everybody runs out.
Oh shit!
It's like
No.
it's like I've noticed it since I was a kid. It's because the camera was pulling back, and they didn't pull back fast enough. And I don't know,
Okay.
they didn't have time to do another take. The family runs after Chet. They like Annette Bening and the kids. They pause. They turn around. Dan Aykroyd's like looking at them. He counts 1, 2, 3, go, and then they all run out. It's
Wow.
Yeah, watch it again. Just that one scene. Just really watch what's going on in that. I've noticed since I was a kid.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's crazy, and that's especially for like a high production film to have that and leave it in there is strange. But
Yeah,
I didn't notice it, so okay. So maybe I'm part of the majority that just wasn't paying attention.
that can sit back and enjoy movies and not nitpick them to death.
Oh, dude, yeah, I dissect the shit out of films. It drives people crazy. I try not to, but I can't help myself. It's I'm
Uh,
like, oh shit, you see the microphone there? Yeah, that's me. That's
this is why you and I get along, because we're persnickety little fucks.
yeah. I
Um,
like persnickety. I like that word.
I do too. I love it. So then they all go fishing with like an obvious backdrop, like like a painted on backdrop. So
Oh
they
yeah,
must be like in a pool or something like that, because it's just like, oh, look at those like very real mountains in the background. And then they get covered in leeches. And then out of nowhere, all the adults start fighting. I feel like something was chopped out of this movie.
I think you're probably right. The Chet Roman thing is very unstable. That there is the potential of it
Mhm.
blowing up, but definitely Connie and Kate going head to head kind of seemed out of the blue. So,
Yeah,
but
because all of their scenes are just like, I love you so much, I miss you so much. I've been so lonely, and yeah, I know, I feel, like it's always just been so fun. But in this one scene, Chet's like trying to start a fire, and Roman starts commenting on it, and then everybody just kind of explodes at one another for no reason.
part of it though, like Connie understands that Roman looks down on her husband because Kate is so supportive of Roman. Like Connie's like, "Fuck you too." Like I'm gonna protect my guy. So it
Mm.
kind of makes sense there. But I think you're right because when John Hughes writes, like even Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was like a 250-page screenplay. Like he just fucking goes. And so this they probably did cut this down a lot because it does seem kind of a like quick that this fight would happen. I do think it makes sense because Kate is definitely pro Roman and the cheerleader, and Connie understands that Chet is kind of like fragile and sensitive and needs some protection. So I kind of like that whole dynamic. It kind of worked out. I love the story that Roman tells about Chet being drunk at a wedding, going in the bathroom and saying Roman's the most crooked son of a bitch I've ever met. If you watch John Candy in that moment when he hears that, it just shows you who John Candy is, how good of an actor he was. He's so devastated that he actually said that. It's amazing stuff.
Roman uses this opportunity to get Chet to write him a check for $25,000 on what he says is an investment.
Hmm.
And just for your edification, $25,000 in 1988 equals $68,000.
Ay caramba.
As Roman is driving away with Chet's check,
Yeah.
Kate starts saying like how much that money means to Chet. That's probably his kid's college fund. And then Roman has a crisis of conscience and goes back. He tells Chet that he made up the story of the bathroom and that he actually gets coffee for people because a lot of his investments didn't pan out, and he's actually broke. While this is happening, the Roman's two twin girls go off to the mine shaft and they fall down it
Yes.
for some reason. Like while it's like pissing rain outside, the girls decide that'd be a good time to go to the mine.
And that
So
that
they get
leads to one of the best lines of the film, where Chet's like, "Be their father for once in your life." Where finally,
so
like the floodgates are open as far as like they're not holding back what they feel anymore, and I thought that was outstanding.
because they don't have to, because what's going on right now is way more important than anybody's ego, and I love that. That's such a good message.
Yep.
Chet and Roman go looking for the girls. They find them in the mine shaft. Roman's like, I can't go in there, I'm claustrophobic, and like she's like, these are your fucking kids, bro. Like,
Yep.
go down there and be a dad. And he does, and like you watch him sort of have that emotional transition in a couple of seconds, and to me it's very convincing. I get it. It didn't seem rushed. It seemed like it was brewing, and he goes, yep, this is my turn to be a father. As Chet goes back to get rope, Roman takes the girls and climbs out of the mine shaft. Unbeknownst to them, though,
Yeah.
the
We got the
bear,
Bears
the
back.
great bald bear of the North Woods, is down there, and Chet comes back with the rope and accidentally pulls the bear out of the mine shaft. Which
Yes.
I like describing it. It sounds really stupid, and it kind of is. But Jesus Christ, is the rest of this movie fucking hilarious.
It is.
The bear chases Chet back to the cabin. And I don't know. The whole rest of this movie is fucking hysterical to me. It's just like I still quote this to this day when Chick gets back to the thing. He's like, Big Bear, Big Bear, Big Bear,
Chase me.
Big Bear, chase me, Big Bear, chase me.
Yeah, because it's so funny because he runs, he hauls ass, he slides down like this muddy hill, and he comes inside, and at this point, everything's water under the bridge. Everyone's happy, the kids are safe, and even Roman's like, "Ah, there you are, Chet. We were waiting for you." He's like panicking, and then the bear knocks down the door and is jumping up and down on Chet, which is hilarious. When the bear stands up and they get that great shot, like you brought up the cinematography, that great like shot pointing up at the bear to make him look even bigger, and seeing Dan Aykroyd scream, but he's got the fire poker and he's like, I gotta protect my kids because now I finally realize what being a dad is. And you're right, this scene with the bear, the bear attacking Dan Aykroyd was fucking hilarious. And even when the bear goes upstairs and is trying to kill Roman, Chet is still on the floor saying, Big Bear, chase me." It was so funny.
And as he's trying to, for some reason, put the door back up, Wally kicks the door down and comes in with a shotgun lamp.
Yes.
And Chet's like, "What are you doing? It's a lamp." He goes, "Yeah, but it's loaded."
That's
And
right.
so Chet grabs the shotgun lamp and shoots the bear in the ass, shaving all the fur off the bear's ass. The bear runs back into the woods like a scalded dog. Again, the bear is just going through the woods. Just makes me laugh every time.
Loved it. Loved it.
Oh,
Loved it.
and then they're all leaving the cabin, and Buck and Cammy get to finally have their romance reach its pinnacle. Where do you want to go on for like a half hour about the Buck and Cammy romance and how good it was and how well written and how important it was to the plot?
The bear should have eaten them both, is my opinion. That was like, I think what John Hughes is trying to do was trying to cash in on a younger audience to make sure that they would come view it, but it wasn't there because you brought up Breakfast Club, and you can even say Ferris Bueller. Those are films that connected with youth. There's nothing about Buck or Cammy that connects with a teen audience. It just seemed very like disingenuous and cookie cutter, where everything else was very sincere. Maybe there was pressure to put this storyline in there from the producers. I'm trying to give John Hughes an out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad stuff. But
Every story needs romance kind of thing.
Yeah, but there was a John Hughes thing in here that a line in here that would be pretty consequential in a future film. John Candy said it during the fight. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Did he say Wagons East?
He did not. Okay.
Sorry.
What he said was, "Do you want a dent in your head?" To Roman. That would be used a few times in Dutch with Ed O'Neill, where
Oh, yeah, with the ring.
so it's pretty neat especially as a writer. It's how I operate, where things from other screenplays bleed in to your next one, and before you know it, it's like this whole circle has been created of names and characters and circumstances. And so it's very, very interesting because we talked about John Carpenter in one of our last episodes. John Hughes is a guy who's the standard. Like, I don't think there's anyone better than John Hughes. This guy is an amazing writer, and it's cool to kind of analyze the evolution and how it all connects. It's really fascinating.
We'll have to do a John Hughes episode, and maybe one of these episodes we'll do the top 5 Geno lines from all of his movies.
Oh my god, dude. That would be awesome. That would be really awesome. Or we could even do what lines we think Geno needs to ask public apology for. That would be awesome.
So at the end, Chet and Roman make amends. They shake hands, and then it's revealed Roman and the family have been invited to move in with Chet and Connie. I'll race you home. He's get the fuck out of the car.
Yes.
Like, he's gonna take the good spot in the garage. They end the movie on a great little dance scene with Dan Aykroyd just going all over the bar, dancing to the Land of a Thousand Dances. What a fun little end credit scene. And I was like, oh, Dan Aykroyd dance? I'm like, well, yeah, he's a fucking Blues Brother idiot. Geno, what did you think of The Great Outdoors?
Absolutely loved it. Dan Aykroyd and John Candy, you can't go wrong. And like you mentioned before with Stephanie Faracy, who played Candy's wife, she was awesome. Annette Bening is always good. This is just a great film. I bring up the Buck and Cammy storyline as shitty, and it's probably only shitty comparatively to the rest of the film. But other than that, this is a very like funny, heartwarming film about family. And I think anyone that has family has a person they don't get along with, but once they start to get to know each other, it kind of like breaks the ice. And we see that on display here with John Hughes' amazing writing and amazing cast. I highly recommend this. Not the best John Hughes movie for sure, but there's not many bad ones. This is a good film. John Hughes is a great writer, great cast. Love it. Highly recommend it. What do you think, Eric?
This is one of those movies I watch every year. Like it's one of those like beginning of the summer movies. It like kind of kicks off my summer because obviously summer is my fucking favorite.
Yep.
This movie to me, I've used to watch it a lot on cable, like when I was a kid. But now that I've grown up and I understand it a lot more, the comedy to me now is even funnier to me than it was when I was a kid.
Yep.
And just watching all these great personalities bounce off one another, I fucking love this movie. The end with the bear is just like some of the funniest shit.
Yep.
John Candy's amazing. Dan Aykroyd's amazing. You have to watch this movie. It's so fucking good.
I could not agree more, and I am glad that we were able to give John Candy some props in this episode because he is a champion. His film catalog with Planes, Trains, Automobiles, I think, is one of his best, if not the best, one of my favorite movies. Uncle Buck, even he was in Home Alone in a very small role, which he ruled. This guy was just a treasure.
His role in Home Alone is hysterical.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Kenosha Kickers. Yeah, polka,
The
polka,
Kenosha.
polka, polka. We're really big in Sheboygan. Improv. He improved all of that dialogue.
He's so good. And even in Splash, he was awesome. Just a funny guy, just a great buddy character, but also can carry a film like he did in Uncle Buck. This guy's great. Great movie. John Hughes, the master. And yeah, so this was episode 20. We made it to 20 without killing each other, Eric. How does it feel?
Woo! Well, it helps that we do this over Zoom and we're not able to kill each other. If you bring up Bill Cosby one more time.
Yeah, I'll try not to. I'll try to, and as long as you don't bring up the day the music died, we'll be good. So to everyone listening, we hope you enjoyed yet another episode of our podcast. We appreciate you tuning in, and much love. We'll be on episode 21 next. That's a good number too. Wouldn't you say, Eric?
I would say.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. Tune in next time, and we will see you then.
Big Bear, chase me.
Subject to changes, nothing stays the same. Life keeps spinning in this endless game. Grab your worries, throw them to the flame. Stay tuned and ride on the fame. From the mundane to the